Had people on the phone ranting that they want out of their Tesla because it doesn't represent them anymore.
There are people who are saying, just for supporting the car, supposedly, or saying that they're good, that we're Nazis.
If there's a deal to be done, there's one cheap enough. I had all this stuff what's getting said in the news does not put me off one little bit.
What exactly is happening with Tesla sales? With boss Elon Musk's outbursts on social media, those antics in the Oval Office, and that gesture at the president's inauguration, what impact is this having on the brand and its buyers? If you read the headlines, Tesla sales are dropping, its share price has fallen, and the doommongers are predicting major troubles ahead. But is that what's really playing out in the dealers? What is the used market really like for Teslas here in the UK? And in an increasingly crowded new car marketplace, is Tesla still able to compete? Now, I bought a used Tesla Model 3 at the start of this year to sell here at the Clever Car Collection. It was our first EV and we really struggled to sell it. In the end, we had little interest and we had to trade it on to an EV specialist. That led me to ask the question, was that down to our inexperience, bad luck, or was there something more sinister at play? Is Elon Musk really damaging his brand? Or do buyers just not care? In this video, I aim to find out. If you're into cars, chances are you can't open social media without seeing something about Tesla. And right now, not a lot of it is very positive. Pretty much anywhere you turn online, there's a news story or 10 about Tesla. Elon Musk has always been a divisive figure, but his actions and comments since he arrived in the White House as Donald Trump's right-hand man have caused concern across the world. First, there was that gesture. Then there was a backlash against his cost-cutting measures in the States. His actions led to protests outside Tesla showrooms, some peaceful, some less so. Videos of Teslas being vandalised have been popping up across social media platforms, while in some countries Teslas have been attacked on forecourts. But while the headlines look bleak, there are some that say it's simply a storm in a teacup. So what's really going on out there? Do consumers even notice or care what Musk has been saying? First, I asked some car dealers what they're seeing in their showrooms. Martin, you helped us sell our Tesla Model 3, and when you did that, we had a chat on the phone, didn't we, about what the market's like at the moment. When Elon Musk kind of started changing his attitude a little bit, and when he did that sign, what happened with Tesla buyers?
He had a scenario where that weekend he retweeted about the Tommy Robinson tweet. I mean, we normally get 2 or 3 sell my car requests a day for a Tesla. We had 10 that day. Had people on the phone ranting that they want out of their Tesla because it doesn't represent them anymore. And for all the reasons that they said they wanted out, I said, no, thank you.
Are you buying Teslas at the moment?
Absolutely not.
And why not?
Because I think they've got massive oversupply problems. The problem with a Tesla is you've got 5 exterior colors. You've got a choice of black or white on the inside. You can't differentiate your Tesla to the other. If you've got one on at 20,400, there's a bloke down the road got one on at 20,200. Your phone just doesn't ring. And so I think it's that oversupply, plus you can't differentiate your product against the other. But ultimately, I just think they've got a long way to go south.
Do you think that now Elon is taking part in the running of America alongside Donald Trump? Has that had an impact at all?
Yeah, I mean, I had an American late last year on the forecourt, and he just said, he's just, young man, I'm a Democrat. And if you suddenly put those words, that's 48% of Americans. And, they are, and people are vandalizing them in London. It happens. A £5,000 car is a need to purchase. A £20,000 car is a I want to purchase for most people. And want means that there is an image associated with it. And every car you buy, whether it's a Vauxhall or a Ferrari, you're making a statement in buying that car, and making a statement that you are actively okay with what Elon Musk is saying. I don't think a lot of people are happy about that.
Do you think it's going to get worse for Teslas in the market? And do you think we're going to see prices drop considerably as a result of what's happening?
Yeah, I can't see them going up at all, and I can only see a negative on them, and that's why we have chosen not to stock them right now.
That's a big step, isn't it, Martin? I mean, as an electric vehicle specialist, taking yourself out of the market for the biggest selling electric car, that's a big decision.
We talk to customers on the forecourt, what are you interested in? I'm interested in this. And every so often you just slip in, and what about a Tesla? And knowing full well it's a bit dangerous because you haven't got any in stock, it's just all the time I'm getting, no. Tesla and Elon are linked. It's the equivalent of back in the day, Steve Jobs saying all of this. Would you feel comfortable having an iPhone? Probably not.
That was an interesting chat, wasn't it, with Martin there. He clearly has fallen out of love with Teslas. I mean, we had a bit of a chat once we stopped filming, and he said that Teslas really are a badge. Your car is a badge. And unfortunately, what does that badge say about you at the moment? He's a little bit concerned about it. But I don't think it's all doom and gloom out there. There are some other dealers out there that are still stocking Tesla. One of them is a guy called David Gott. He runs the Lovely Car Company, and he's agreed to have a chat to me as well. So I'm going to have a chat to him next, see what he's got to say. David, thanks for joining us. We're obviously looking into this Tesla market at the moment. I'm just looking at your website now. You've got lots of Teslas for sale. How are you finding the market for used Teslas?
It's okay. Whatever, Teslas are going to bomb, they're going to die, all this. Every day we get a call for a Tesla. I mean, don't get me wrong, we are in the sub £20,000 market, so they're really affordable now. So people, 4 years ago, nobody could afford a Tesla. These cars would be, 40 grand, something like that. So for us, it's really buoyant.
It's been interesting, hasn't it, watching what's happening with Tesla. We've just been talking to an EV experts dealer, dealer called EV Experts, who was saying that they're not buying Teslas at all. They find that the people coming in to buy their cars are really put off by Elon Musk. Do you think that's having any impact at all from what you're seeing?
No, I don't. Honestly, I really don't. I've been absolutely... The only people that are saying to me stuff like this is other dealers, family members, friends. Oh, why are you selling them Teslas? Elon Musk, he's this, he's that. For me, I don't really care about Elon Musk. I just like the fact you can get nearly 300 miles out of a long-range Tesla. I can go and pick my kids up in Newcastle and bring them back down to Sheffield on one charge, and it's costing me minimal amounts of money.
Yeah, because I've had a Tesla Model 3 for sale, and EV Experts help us sell it because we really struggled with it. It was quite out of our normal range of cars. I think was probably the problem for us. But I really enjoyed driving it. It was a lot of car for the money. It was a Model 3 Performance, and it was under £20,000. That's a huge amount of performance for the money, isn't it?
It's brilliant. Honestly, the fantastic value for money. You'd be mad to not have one at that price point with the money you're going to save on fuel. So we've got a Tesla Model X in at the minute, and that's at 37,000, and we're struggling to sell that. And I know when you reduce a Tesla, it's by £500. So if you are in that 25 to 35, 40,000 pound market, I would be a little bit worried.
What do you think is going to happen next for Tesla prices? I mean, some people are a little bit worried about them. Have you got any concerns?
No, I haven't. I really haven't. I think as well, look, at the end of the day, if you get a white Tesla, there are absolutely thousands of them about. But what we do is we put body kits on them. We'll put the big wheels on it. We'll make them look a bit different. So for us, I'm not worried about it. But if we have got a normal Tesla, a naked Tesla, what we call them, they do hang about. So if you are a dealer and you are selling Teslas, you need to do something different to them.
And Dave, are you actively out there buying Teslas now?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I have. If one's, so if there's a deal to be done, there's one cheap enough. I all this stuff what's getting said in the news does not put me off one little bit.
Interesting, isn't it, how opinions are completely different depending on who you talk to. David Gott from the lovely car company there, having an absolute whale of a time selling cars, but selling Teslas in slightly unique spec. If you have a good look at his website, everything looks a little bit different. He really does put the effort into these cars, and clearly they're standing out and working for him. David and Martin have both suggested I speak to another dealer. Richard Simons of RSEV, based down in the New Forest, has sold hundreds of Teslas. He runs a popular YouTube channel debunking the myths around the brand, and he's been driving one himself since 2015. Richard, thanks for joining us today. We've been chatting to a number of different car dealers about the Tesla market at the moment. I mean, you've just had a good look at your website. You've got lots of them for sale. How are you finding it?
We've been flat out, which might be a surprise answer. Yes, very busy. Obviously, Elon's been quite sort of opinionated recently, and I know that their new car sales have been down. Well, allegedly they've been down. And so a few people have asked me, how's it been for us? And this is March, we've been flat out this month, absolutely flat out.
Have you seen any impact from customers in the way that Elon's been behaving recently?
For us, selling the used cars, actually, no. A little bit of a surprise. I thought there might be a bit of backlash. I put a video out about 6-7 weeks ago about voicing some concern about how Elon's opinions could affect sales with Tesla. I hear that new car sales are down, but actually in the used market, we've been very busy. This month, March 2025, has been one of the busiest months for ages. So it's on the used market, no problem. We're struggling to keep up with stock. We are buying as much as we can, and we're selling everything that comes in. So there's a few Teslas out in the background here, but they're coming and going extremely quickly. So whether other companies are struggling a bit with the used Teslas, possibly. For us, flat out.
Do you think the customers who are buying the Teslas even know that Elon's been making these statements, even know that these cars are being vandalised? Do you think we're just operating in this slight echo chamber where we just hear it because we're in the industry?
You may be left, you may be right, you might be whatever, but I think some people will actually appreciate a lot of what he is doing or agree with his opinions. So much as a lot of people don't, and they tend to get the publicity, a lot of people probably do. We tend to not really speak about politics when we're with a customer because obviously it's not what you do. I've not seen any impact because of Tesla's of Elon Musk's public statements. I would even go so far as to say prices now for Model 3s and Model Ys are stronger than they were 2 months ago. The same car would be worth actually probably a little bit more if I hadn't sold it 2 months ago, left it, kept it parked here, probably actually go for a little bit more today.
But what do consumers think? Are they blind to Elon's antics, or is there a growing number of owners and potential buyers who just don't want anything to do with the brand anymore? Tom Barnard is the editor of electrifying.com, a specialist electric car review site.
Yeah, I mean, the big thing for us is that whenever we mention Tesla now in a review, whether it's on YouTube or on the website, we get a lot of abuse. So there are people who are saying just for supporting the car, supposedly, or saying that they're good, that we're Nazis, or that if you buy one, you're a Nazi, and we shouldn't be supporting the Elon Musk and his regime, and that anyone buying a Tesla is funding fascism, basically, which is a bit strong. I mean, it puts us in a very difficult position because we're not politicians. We're editorial people who want to let people buy the best car that they can and to make the best decisions that they can by giving them all the information. Now, we can't not mention the fact that you might get abuse if you have a Tesla. I mean, there are people who are coming to us for buying advice saying they want to sell their Tesla because they're sick of the abuse.
So you genuinely think there really is a problem out there with how Elon's behaving, and it is impacting buyers and people who potentially who have the cars at the moment? You genuinely think it's a problem?
Absolutely. I think it's absolutely a problem. I know there are people who come to us for buying advice and they're not being political about it. They're just like, I bought a Tesla, my kids are getting teased at school, I need something else. What would you advise? I mean, that's what they're saying to us.
It's putting off buyers. Do you think there's going to be problems in the showrooms off the back of this?
I think it's inevitable. I mean, I don't know whether the dealers will notice that people just aren't coming in, or whether they'll come in and they'll show them a Tesla and say, I'm not comfortable buying that. we've seen it in the past, but not with political things necessarily, but with, when Rover or Saab went, people are like, oh, I don't know where I'm going to get parts, and they're just a bit scared of buying one.
What do you think is really happening? Is it is Tesla being hit by the fact that there's more competition out there, or is it genuinely what Elon's doing?
Well, it's a bit of a double whammy, isn't it? I mean, if you have the slightest, it used to be that Teslas were so much better than everything else because of the charging network and because of the cars and the efficiency, that you really went, well, perhaps I'm not sure about the whole Tesla image, or I'm not a big Elon fan, but I'll have one anyway. Now, if you've got the slightest chance that you can get a car which is as good or even better than a Tesla, you're just going to take that. So Tesla's problem is that they haven't had anything that's substantially better or substantially newer for a while. And at the same time, there's a reason not to buy one.
Tom, would you buy a Tesla at the moment?
I'd feel very uncomfortable with it. In fact, we're meant to go and test one, and I'm meant to go and pick it up. And I'm even a little nervous about that. I still think they're great cars. I think a Model 3 is a compelling car, especially in the used market at the moment. And you've got all the benefits of the network and the efficiency. But at the moment, there's just something about it. I know having one on the drive will cause comments. Now, maybe I'm too thin-skinned and other people out there aren't. But I think it's still going to be an issue for people. If it is for me, then it is certainly going to be for people who have an excuse to go and buy something else.
Well, that was interesting, wasn't it, what Tom had to say there? He runs a very popular website for electric vehicles, electrifying.com, and if they're seeing it, then it must be real. The fact that they've got some very, very popular videos, lots of people looking at them all the time, and if they're getting those sorts of comments, then that is a worry. Maybe the problem is very real. Maybe the consumers out there do feel that there is an issue, and perhaps the dealers that are selling them don't want to believe it. Right, next up, I'm talking to Steve Fowler. He used to be the editor of Auto Express, What Car, and Auto Car magazines. He's been a massive Tesla fan for a long period of time. I actually think he even had an order in for a Cybertruck at one stage. He's now covering the EV market for The Independent, and I'm very interested to see what he's got to say about Elon and what's actually happening out there in the market for Tesla.
I can slip my glasses on and read you part of a message a former colleague sent. Fancy getting an electric car hybrid, and while I like the Tesla I was in the other day, my wife won't agree in giving money to Musk. So clearly there are people out there who fundamentally disagree with his allegiances, shall we say. It's the friends he keeps. I think there's been a lot of press recently about sales sliding, and there's a degree of context in that. Undoubtedly, as we've proven, there are some people who don't want to buy Teslas because of the man at the top. But we also have to put into context the fact that the world's best-selling electric vehicle is the Tesla Model Y. In fact, I think it's probably the world's best-selling vehicle completely. They've been swapping over from old model to new model. Now, when that happens, there is always a drop in deliveries and availability. So I think that has to be taken into the mix. But in answer to your question, undoubtedly, people are being turned off Tesla because of Elon. How big the effect is, nobody can really quantify.
Steve, you've been a huge fan of Tesla for a long time, haven't you? I think you've even told me that you put down a deposit on a Cybertruck at some stage. So has your opinion personally changed of the brand off the back of what's been happening?
I think we have to remember that a car company is bigger than just one person. And you and I have met plenty of CEOs over the years. Some CEOs are fantastic. Others we probably would not be wanting to sit next to at dinner quite as much as others. But that doesn't necessarily make me not want to buy their product. You know, the bottom line is whether you take when you do take Musk out of the equation, the cars are pretty good.
Are you concerned in any way that Musk might be ruining Tesla?
Once the institutional investors start looking at what's happening with the share price, you know, if they're going to see their investment and the value of their investments and potentially the pensions that they protect going down, then pressure is always put on the CEO, the person at the top. So, you know, it remains to be seen quite how this is going to play out. But I think Elon's under pressure like he's never been before.
And do you think part of the problem with Tesla is the fact that they don't have a PR department? They don't do advertising. Do you think that's a bit of an issue?
I think that the problem is it's the old truth to power thing, isn't it? Whether there's anybody in Tesla who is willing or able to stand up to Elon. I mean, ultimately, somebody needs to say, it's about time you just kind of slipped aside, maybe sort of some sort of chair role rather than running the business.
And do you think there's a little bit of a danger of this becoming a bit of a Gerald Ratner moment for Tesla?
Yeah, undoubtedly, the PR people that Tesla does have, I'm sure it's kind of head in hands moment every now and again.
If buyers really are being put off Teslas, the first place we'd see an impact would be in used values. Chris Plum and his team monitor used car prices across the UK for CAP HPI. What are they seeing?
We're not hearing at the moment of people being particularly cautious about sourcing used Tesla product and stocking it on forecourts.
What is happening out there with Tesla prices at the moment? I mean, you've said that there is a little bit of fluctuations there. I mean, give me an indication of what that sort of looks like.
But if we look at the vehicles for the last 3 months with 30,000 miles on, a Model 3 has reduced on average by about 7.5%, against the backdrop of the average EV movement is about 1%. Model Y sits in that, I think it's about 2.5%. As I say, so they've come down a little bit more, especially Model 3 has come down a little bit more than the rest of the market.
What do you think then may happen next to Tesla prices, Chris? I mean, there's clearly a lot of focus on them at the moment, isn't there? I mean, what do you think might happen in the market?
I think that actually this month, as we go into April, we've actually seen a little bit of more stabilisation. And actually, Tesla Model 3 is probably one of the better performing BEVs as we go into April. I think it's only had a 1% reduction versus some other models that have seen some bigger alignments down. Teslas do look good, really value for money in the used market. And I think that would still drive consumer behaviour and make them quite desirable for dealers, stock and consumers to purchase.
What about the trade auctions then? Are Teslas being swerved in the daily sales? Sally Foote runs Carwow's motor trade auction platform.
It's worth saying that Tesla still make up a relatively small proportion of our auction volumes. It's about 1%. And the first thing I wanted to know was, are we seeing customers offload these vehicles? So are we seeing a spike in that volume coming through into the auctions? And we're not. That's been pretty consistent. So that's interesting data points in itself, right? We're not seeing more consumers trying to offload their Teslas. And then looking at the dealer behavior, right? So the first thing to take a look at there is that we're still generally Tesla's perform incredibly well in our auctions. We generally see a much higher level of dealer bidding against them. So actually, we see more bids on Teslas than we do on ICE cars, and that's consistent through the data. And actually, that hasn't materially shifted, even looking into the start of this year. But where we have seen a slight change is we've seen a slight change in the softening of the offers against those vehicles. So again, typically Teslas perform really well versus if you use CAP as the kind of benchmark, they perform really well from a bid perspective against CAP. We've seen that come down very slightly, around sort of about 3 percentage points. But again, we're still seeing really strong offers compared to ICE and compared to other EVs.
Do you think there's been any impact whatsoever from the way that Elon Musk has been acting? Do you think it's impacted the market at all, or is it just noise?
I think anecdotally you hear that it has. And I think when we look at our new car data, that's the place that we can see it. And I think this is where it's interesting, right? Because even our used car inquiries, there's no shift in change of share for Tesla on that we're seeing on used car inquiries, but we are seeing it on new. Very slight, but it's there.
Autotrader has the largest marketplace for new and used cars in the UK. If consumers were holding back on buying Teslas, it would see evidence in its data almost immediately. Mark Palmer is the head of strategy and insights for the firm.
I mean, the question we asked ourselves was, have UK car buyers turned on Tesla? That's what we want to know, really, isn't it? We haven't found any evidence, just to give it away. There's a really big steep supply increase of 0 to 3-year-old electric cars so far this year. Pricing is the next one. We wonder whether there are indications of any changes in retailer behaviour around pricing, but actually electric car pricing has been stable now for the past few months. Tesla's slightly higher, some of the drops in Teslas. Big things really to call out though, and kind of for used car retailers, really, really fast speed of sale of Teslas. So the market has been up towards sort of 30 days so far this year. Tesla's average is 21.
Do you think then that this is all a bit of a storm in the teacup, that people are putting two and two together and making 5 when it comes to the comments that Elon is making on X and other platforms, and what people think is happening in the market. The reality is it's made no difference.
It makes for a good story, doesn't it? I've seen videos of Teslas on fire in California and, you know, bumper stickers. We've all seen them, of course. And that's really why we wanted to get under the skin of it, because, you know, if you ask people in a survey, depending on where they sit on the political spectrum or what social media platform they use, they're going to tell you, there's no way I'd buy one. I'm going to sell the one I've got. It makes me really sad. Or they might be saying, you know, make America great again wherever they are. So really, buyer behaviour is what we want to analyse. I don't necessarily know where it will go. We'll see with the March sales volumes. But from a use perspective, as I say, you know, there's still plenty of demand.
What do you think is going to happen next then with Teslas and Tesla pricing?
So I think there's a really good opportunity for retailers. As I said, lots more independent retailers getting involved in electric cars. We'd say use all the tools available to see if you have a solid local market. Look at what you can sell the car for, and then what you could buy it for, and try it out.
Tesla doesn't have a PR department to contact for comment, but as we know, Musk is pretty vocal on X. Responding to accusations his gesture was far right, he said, "Frankly, they need better dirty tricks. The everyone is Hitler attack is so tired." In an attempt to boost sales, he roped in Donald Trump for a stunt at the White House. The president even promised to buy one at the press call. But Musk hasn't openly commented on how his actions may be impacting the brand. Paul Hilton works for global data insights firm Jato. He keeps a close eye on what's happening with sales across the world.
There's no doubt, really, that Elon Musk's views and activities online are having an effect, not just here in the UK, but across the rest of the world. I mean, 76% sales down in Germany, February year on year, which is a really interesting metric, especially for Germany, because their EV registrations are up in February 30% year on year. So if the EV market is increased by 30%, but Tesla's share of that market is down significantly, it's a real indicating factor as to what's going on. But it isn't just Germany. You know, France saw a significant decline in Tesla registrations year on year, and a market you wouldn't necessarily always associate in the Tesla performance. But in China, they've really been hit quite hard as well. I think it's 49% year on year drop in Tesla registrations. So it's having an effect quite clearly, and not just here in the UK, but in the wider market too.
So Tesla used car prices may be down, but the experts say that's more to do with supply than anything Musk is doing or saying. Auto Trader says consumers are still searching for them, and dealers on the whole say they're still selling them. Whatever you think of Musk's actions, perhaps he's not having as much an impact on the brand's performance as the media likes to think he is. What do you think of Tesla? Let us know in the comments below, and subscribe to the Car Dealer Magazine YouTube channel for more videos like this one. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.